doing Puma again today. Good morning, YouTube. What's up, everybody? I hope you're safe and healthy and happy and doing okay. That's right, today we're getting back into a Puma shoe. Now I know I'm a little late to the party here. All of the other shoe tubers have had this shoe for quite some time, and I'm sure lots of you have had this shoe for quite some time as well. But I'm new to this. I'm a little late to the Puma train, I'll admit, and you guys have been asking me to review this shoe, especially for quite some time, and now I finally have, so better late than never, right? For those of you who don't know, the Deviate Nitro by Puma is supposed to be like their tempo day speed shoe, kind of like the Nike Zoom Fly and the Endorphin Speed from Saucony. It's in that tier of shoes. So of course, I really enjoy that type of shoe, and I think many of you do as well. So I really wanted to get my hands on this shoe especially and see what I think. I have a couple runs in this shoe actually at this point, some longer, some shorter, but we're gonna talk about what I think about this shoe today. It's all about the Deviate today. Today is your day to shine. But first, of course, you have to sit through the run footage where I put this shoe to the test with slow motion greatness to music. Enjoy. Before we get started today, I do want to let you know this shoe was sent to me by Puma. However, they're not seeing this video before you. They're not telling me anything to say. And all of my opinions about every single shoe that I review are completely my own. All right, so as for the specs for the Deviate Nitro, the women's shoe comes in about 7.6 ounces. They don't say exactly what size it is, probably like a 7 or an 8. But for my size, 10.5 women's, this shoe came in at about 9.1 ounces. With the sock liner, it has a 10 millimeter drop with 38 millimeters of stack in the heel and 28 in the forefoot. And for me, the Puma Deviate Nitro is kind of true to size. I would say it's a teensy bit snug, but definitely something I can pull off with a thinner sock. Probably could have gone up maybe a half size and been okay, but it's doable. So not the greatest answer, but do what you will with that information. As always, let's start with the upper, and this upper is giving Pegasus Turbo 2 vibes, isn't it? What we have here is an engineered mesh. It's very breathable and lightweight. If we go to the midfoot of the shoe, there's really not a ton of overlays getting in the way here. It's pretty bare bones. And if we go to the back of the shoe, the heel counter is sturdy, but there is no pull tab. Now, like I said, yes, the shoe is very breathable. Certainly gonna feel that wind passing through the top of the shoe, and honestly on the sides of the shoe as well. I took this out on a couple windy days. Was definitely a little bit chilly at first, but I think that's good, especially when you're trying to pick up the pace. And the material is also comfortable against my foot. It's relatively soft, and there aren't a ton of like stitchings inside there to kind of like be uncomfortable against my sock and rub me the wrong way. So pretty comfortable there, and I like it. I also do like this tongue. It's thin, but it is gusseted, and it doesn't slide into the shoe, which is something that I sort of have problems with these kinds of tongues sometimes. Now, there are a couple of things about this upper that I don't really like, and that is kind of the fit. Where do I begin? So I really do like the fit through the midfoot of the shoe. I think that the gusseted tongue helps to really wrap this area up nice and close to my foot, but not constricting. Moving down to the forefoot, I feel a little bit constricted. And that could be because this shoe really isn't true to size for me and I just need a little bit more room, very possible. But it just feels a little bit shallow in here to me sometimes. And I wish that I had a little bit more room for my toes to kind of bend and spread out if they need to. I do get a little bit of heel slipping here, which is kind of frustrating because I'm already using the last loophole and I'm still getting a little bit of heel slipping. Another thing about this upper that I don't really like, that I've mentioned in quite a few videos, is I don't really like when ankle collars have like a sharper or like thinner piece here that kind of outlines the top of the ankle collar and the padding is inside of the shoe. This can cause irritation and blisters and all kinds of things that make us sad. I didn't feel any problems with this, but I know that other people have, and while it doesn't irritate me, it feels present on the back of my ankle at times, so I don't like this. I hope that in the next version of this shoe, they'll get rid of this ankle collar situation and just make it nice and plush and alleviate these problems. Overall, as a whole, I don't really mind the upper. I have mixed feelings on it, obviously, but all that said, I did not have any irritation, hot spots, or blisters from the shoe, which is, you know, a thumbs up, obviously, a positive. All right, so now on to the fun part. The midsole. Here, Puma has 2 layers of their nitro foam, which is nitrogen infused, gives it a little more bounce, response, and pep in your step. And sandwiched in between those 2 layers is a carbon fiber plate. And let's not forget this little TPU plate in the heel. It is reflective, and it also helps to provide stability for the shoe. The first thing that I thought of when I got my foot into this shoe was, this is what I wished the Velocity Nitro felt like underfoot. Like, this has the amount of cushioning that I'm looking for in a daily trainer. I love the amount of foam here in the forefoot. It does not feel dead or stale or flat to me like the Velocity kind of did. Here in the Deviate Nitro, it feels a lot easier to run and a lot easier to run at faster paces if that's what you're trying to do. And that's because this foam mixed with that carbon plate just gives you a nice, responsive, efficient, and lively ride. I wouldn't say that this is the most propulsive feeling plate that I've ever felt, or the softest, bounciest foam that I've ever felt either. But I think for what it is, it's a really good, solid choice. Kind of like the Nike Zoom Fly 4, which I did a full review on last week, I think that this is the kind of carbon plated shoe that people will want to do daily training in. While I don't necessarily recommend running in a carbon plate for every single run, not something I would do, but this is another one of those shoes that you could get away with it. At the slower paces, the shoe felt pretty good, but it obviously feels better when you're picking up the pace. So how would I describe it? The ride of the shoe is tasty, like French fries, when you're running at like a moderate pace. But then when you pick up the pace, it's almost as if you dipped that fry in ketchup. It just gives it a little more oomph and you're like, ah, that's the sweet spot. That's really good. But that's how I felt about the ride of this shoe. Do I like it better than the Zoom Fly 4? I'm not sure, because honestly, the Zoom Fly 4 is one of my favorite shoes. So probably not as much as that. But I might like this more than the Speed 2. I think for Puma's first attempt at like a tempo day shoe, this was a pretty damn good debut. And I'm impressed with it. And I'm also kind of impressed that my foot is not really overpronating too much. It is a little bit, but it's really not that bad. So I gotta say, I enjoyed this midsole. I think it's fun. I wish I liked the upper as much as I did the midsole. But what about the outsole? Here, Puma is using their Puma grip material. I tried it in the Velocity Nitro and it was spectacular. It's spectacular here as well. I don't know what they put in this Puma grip, but it is gripping onto surfaces, and more so than some of my other shoes. Like, it really feels like it digs in there, and I feel very confident no matter what the conditions are outside. When I filmed, it was a dry day, but I did take this out on some weather days and it held up. and it's holding up too. You know, I barely have 20 miles in the shoe, but so far so good. Just a teeny bit of wear at the top. The Puma Deviate Nitro is $160. It's not on runningwarehouse.com, just on the Puma website. That's where I'm getting this information from, which I think is a relatively fair price because it is right around the same price point as the other shoes in its category, like the Endorphin Speed 2 from Saucony and the good old Nike Zoomfly 4. If they ever become available on runningwarehouse.com, I'll put a link. Otherwise, I'm just gonna throw in the link from puma.com, which you can probably get yourself, but I'm trying to be helpful. So now I understand what people like about Nitro foam so much. I'm starting to see the light here with the Deviate Nitro. Didn't really feel it in the Velocity, not gonna lie, but I'm feeling it here. And I'm excited to see what Puma does to kind of improve and change the shoe for the second version whenever the heck that comes out. I definitely think this upper can be fixed. I think they're going in the right direction with the midsole. It's fun, it's bouncy, and I think this shoe can go the distance. I think it's gonna give you plenty of mileage, but we're gonna see when we take it to 50 miles how exactly it does. Well, everyone, that concludes my first run impressions of the Puma Deviate Nitro. If you enjoyed this video, please like it down below and subscribe. And when you're done with all that, hit the notifications bell so you can find out every time I upload a new video. I have 1 minute till work starts. I have another video for you next week, but in the meantime, get out there, get on the grind, and don't forget to run like Heller. See you next time. Toby, what are you doing?